welcome back to the StubHub Center for the Masters competition. This is the 60-plus age division of the men's competition, event number 3, titled Pullgatory. Here is your lane assignment with your starting lineup. Some big names in this event and people to watch out for, Miles.
Consistency is key throughout this week. We're looking at Scott Olson. He's at the second place finish and the first place finish. So right now he stands on top. Clark Holland had a first place finish and a seventh place finish. His position right now is 173 points, which puts him in second. Gary Marshman with a sixth place finish on event number 1 and a second place on event number 2, 170 points. So these athletes are looking for that top 3 position, but also behind the scenes, also what's going on today, they're looking to make that top 12 position. At the end of event number 4, there will be a cut going into day 3. So they're taking the athlete field down to 12 athletes after event 4.
And this is a chipper workout, meaning they have a list of exercises. They need to chip their way through those exercises. The first one, you're watching it now, 50, shoulder to overhead with a 75-pound bar. Scott Olson working away at 50, shoulder to overhead. Some guys choosing to go all the way through. Scott Olson is the first one to finish his 50 shoulder to overhead. The second part of this event is a sled pull. He's going to go down and pull that sled with a rope, so it's different than the one that they were doing yesterday.
Right, a whole different set of pain.
It's arm over arm, and it's very grip intensive, and he is starting to pull that sled. He's got to do it 1/3 of the way before he can continue on with this event.
So what we're looking at right now is a long rope, which is also heavy. Connected at the end of that rope is 135 pounds of weight on top of the sled. No easy task, especially dragging it across grass. So you're going to see some techniques involved, but don't forget, this workout is upper body intensive. There's going to be a lot of fatigue set in. So the athletes that can be efficient on this movement are going to be the athletes to pay attention to.
Scott Olson was the first one to complete 50 shoulder to overhead with a 75-pound barbell, and the first one to reach the rope. However, other athletes starting in and starting to pass him up. And we've got several going neck and neck. Scott Olson is still fighting to get that weight down the field. He was just passed by Gary Marshman, who is our current leader. Gary Marshman pulling that sled hard and passing Scott Olson on the first sled pull. Now, he's down to the station where he will complete 40 burpees, the burpee miles.
40 burpees alone itself is a daunting task. Getting that chest to the floor, jumping onto the plate with the hip extend at the top. So that's what these judges are looking for. These judges have a bird's eye view. You're looking at the judge a lot closer than the camera can get, so they know what's going on down there. 40 burpees in the middle of a workout like this may be the time to rest. You're going to see a nice even pace on some of these athletes.
And Bruce Sutta now joins Scott Olson and Gary Marshman on the plate to start in on 40 burpees. Marshman in the lead, was the first one to get down to the burpee station, and showing that if he's going to win this event, really will do it on the sled pull.
Again, these athletes are up against the entire field. All 19, 20 athletes are out there right now, so they're up against everybody you see in front of them. There are no other heats, so to get a first place in this means they win the event.
Gary Marshman on the left in the yellow shirt, Scott Olson on the right in the gray shirt, working their way through 40 burpees.
40 burpees in the back of their head. They're also thinking to drag that sled another 1/3 of the way across that field. They also have sumo deadlift high pulls coming up and then a sprint at the end. So maintaining a little bit of energy. They're not trying to go for it right now. You'll see it, some athletes pacing themselves. That's smart.
And is there a part of a chipper where you see different exercises that you need to do, Miles? Is a strategy? Are you looking at, I know I can go fast on the burpees, I can kind of cruise through the sled pull and kind of catch my breath, or vice versa? Are there ways to break it down?
At this point, some of these athletes have done every single thing you see out there, so they know, they're very experienced with their threshold, their pain threshold. They're not looking to break through that barrier right now. They're looking to just stay underneath that red line, we call it. The red line refers to when that body expends all amounts of energy that it can't handle anymore. So they're trying to stay just below that red line to maintain that intensity throughout this event.
Again, Marshman has 24 reps.
Gary Marshman in the yellow shirt, black shorts, was the first one to reach the burpee station.
Head-to-head, rep for rep.
Gary Sutta, the third one to reach the burpee station. He is in the pink shirt on the left of your screen, black and white shorts, or excuse me, black shorts on the right is Gary Sutta, Bruce Sutta.
All the way on the right side, folks. All the way over in lane number 20.
You'll see these athletes wearing cleats. Smart move. They're using a different footwear to help maintain traction on that field.
Right next to him, one lane to the inside of the t-shirt and black shorts.
Just past the 5-minute and 30-second mark, there is a 20-minute time cap. This is the men's masters competition at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. These are the 60-plus age division. And Marshman on the left, it was Bruce Sutta that came through on the burpees. Bruce Sutta is in first place now. Notice how he's just walking back. He's not sprinting.
So Bruce Sutta is managing his energy levels right now. He knows that the next part of this is going to take a lot of energy out of him, so he's going to build up some steam. He knows what he has to do.
Scott Olson in second place. He is jogging down the field,
well,
so
Scott
trying
Olson's,
to make up some ground on Bruce Sutta.
Yeah, he sees the competitor in front of him right now. He knows that he has to get out there with him, if not in front of him. That's his goal.
Gary Marshman, who was in first place when he got to the burpees, it looks like he slipped a little. Not only did Bruce Sutta pass him up, but so did Scott Olson. Both gentlemen passed up Gary Marshman, who is now in third place. But right now, it's all on Bruce Sutta's shoulders as he is pulling that 135 pounds on the sled.
So traction is key here. They're trying everything they can to dig those heels into the dirt to maintain that so they can pull with their arms. Footwear would have been a good choice for him. We see some athletes decided to go with cleats. Smart move.
Now obviously, Bruce Sutta is sitting down to do this. Scott Olson, Gary Marshman standing up. Is there an advantage to either technique?
Some of these athletes, this is the first time they've tried this. They've never been on something like this before. So they need to manage that rope. You'll see some of these guys putting it in nice, even coils at the other side of them. That's smart. The rope gets in the way, gets tangled up, makes it a much more difficult task.
And I love how this event is lined out, so visually it's easy to see where you are in relation to some of the other fellow competitors. And you can tell, hey, I've got to really pour it on here because my sled is 10 yards behind Scott Olson's sled. And now more and more men finishing up their burpees, getting down to the final reps.
One thing to note, these athletes, 60 years plus. Here we're looking at Ron Gallus, 65 years old, the oldest competitor on the field today. So you guys at home watching CrossFit Costa Mesa, real proud of your man out there, Ron Gallus, 65 years old. Excellent, excellent level of fitness right now at his age.
Not only that, but it shows you that no matter what your age is, you can start to get fit and go in, talk to a coach at a CrossFit affiliate, and they can scale these workouts for you, meaning that if they write it up one way, but you're just starting, hey, they can start you out slow, they can scale these workouts. And look at Gary Marshman. He is showing that he's making up ground on the sled pull. That's really his strength when it comes to this workout. Twice now he started the sled pull behind other gentlemen and passed them up to regain the lead. So right now it's Gary Marshman in second place. On the right, Scott Olson, who has now taken off his shirt and is in the black shorts.
A great race here. Both these athletes right next to each other. They're listening to the judges count. What they have to do is as a sumo deadlift high pull, they're using a 53-pound kettlebell. They need to have that kettlebell touch the ground. They need to lock out their hips and have that kettlebell up and over their clavicle with their elbows up above it. So you're seeing these athletes break it up into small chunks, which is smart. They're managing it. They don't want that judge to say no rep. That's pretty bad experience at that point.
And you know when you've got your fellow competitor right next to you, you can hear his judge counting too. You know exactly where you are. You know exactly where he is. Now, Gary Marshman has 5 reps left, now 3 reps left. And he is slightly ahead of Scott Olson. These two gentlemen virtually went rep for rep through the 30 sumo deadlift high pull. Gary Marshman able to stay barely ahead of Scott Olson and is running down that field. We know that Gary Marshman has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to the sled pull. This will be their last sled pull. We're 10 minutes into this workout, 20-minute time cap. It looks like Scott Olson, some fatigue is setting in.
This is how the events at CrossFit Games are spread. This is awesome. This is a great way for these guys to push the limits right now. Right next to each other, it's gonna come down to the technique, the efficiency on this sled pull, getting that last third of that sled pull across the field, then sprinting all the way to the end. It's gonna be pretty close. It's gonna be fun to watch. Sit back, hunker down.
Gary Marshman showing in the first 2 sled pulls that is really where he gained the lead. He's got to feel confident going into this final sled pull. Now he's got to get the rope down there, then he can start tugging away. He's going to get it all lined out. He is your current leader. He is ahead of Scott Olson, who is on the right, no shirt, black shorts.
Right, we talked earlier about managing that rope. That rope gets in the way. So right now, taking the time a little bit beforehand to get the rope out of the way, to organize things, and then get down, put the head down, and start working.
Event number 3 for the men's masters competition. 60 plus is the age group. 11 minutes and 15 seconds into the workout. There's a 20-minute time cap.
It's going to be close. Both athletes are choosing slightly different paces. Big heaving pulls, short fast pulls. It's going to come down to a sprint. It's where everybody's on the edge of their seats right now.
And look at Scott Olson pouring it on here at the end. Both gentlemen have about 10 to 12 yards left, and it could come down to that final sprint. Both gentlemen not only need to pull that sled past the line, but they have to sprint down the field of play across the finish line, and it really is going to be a foot race to the end. Who's got more gas in the tank? Is it going to be Gary Marshman? Is it going to be Scott Olson? Gary starts first. Can Scott Olson come from behind? The last 2 feet giving Scott Olson fits. Gary Marshman coming on strong here at the end. And it looks like Gary Marshman, who outdistanced Scott Olson, will have his first win of the CrossFit Games. Gary Marshman, unofficial time, 12 minutes, 15 seconds. That's going to make sure that he advances to tomorrow's competition and is safe from that cutoff.
He's also looking right now at this point at a podium finish. That's on his mind right now.
Scott Olson finishes with an unofficial time, 12 minutes and 30 seconds. In third place currently is Gary Jones. And Scott Olson, hands on his knees. He's glad he's done with his 3rd event of the competition. 3 down, 3 to go. It's all going to be about rest and recovery for Scott Olson. Getting some advice from family members. Gary Marshman taking a little bit of advantage of some time to, you finish first, you get more time to rest for the next event, right?
That's right, resting, get a little massage from the grass.
Gary Jones is in 3rd place, closing in on the final 15 meters of his sled pull. This is Greg Walker. He has moved ahead of Gary Jones and will take 3rd place. That's Greg Walker with an unofficial time, 13 minutes, 25 seconds. Greg Walker will take 3rd place in event number 3. And Bruce Clark will take 4th place in event number 3. This is the 60-plus age division. And look at the amount of work that these gentlemen are getting done in a short period of time.
Yeah, at home watching, these men are all in the 60-plus division, putting in extreme amounts of effort right now. Looking for the fittest on earth. We're going to find them.
Shows that no matter what your age is, you can still pursue elite fitness. And these guys are getting it done here at the CrossFit Games.
Right, these athletes have jobs, they have careers, they have families. They all have excuses just like you and I, but they're out there doing the work.
And they train year-round for this event. It's not like they have an off-season. It's not like they need to get in shape during the season. They train year-round to be able to come here and perform at the StubHub Center in Carson, California.
Oftentimes they're training while you and I are sleeping. That's what it takes. A little bit more effort. They're waking up early. They're finishing their day. They're working out before and after the job, putting in that effort.
William Parton finishes, and now Bruce Sutter will finish with an unofficial time, 14 minutes, 51 seconds. Those judges making sure that they pull that sled past the line. John Kane now finishing his workout, event number 3. Just past the 15-minute mark. There's a 20-minute time cap, but it was really Gary Marshman with his sled pulls that allowed him to come in and dominate event number 3 here at the CrossFit Games. We are going down to the competition floor. Shira is standing by with Gary Marshman.
So tell me a little bit more. I saw you slow down on the sumo deadlift high pulls, but it was a little bit because you knew that Olsen was right there behind you.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of those things where you gotta do your own game. There's certain things that I know I'm real good at, but I'll gas out soon. So I was gonna do so many, stop, take a deep breath, get back at it. But I knew, and that guy's amazing. Olsen's amazing. All these guys are amazing, but I knew I could beat him on a sled. I knew I could.
So for the 4th event, what can we expect of you? It's gonna be lower back, leg.
I should do pretty good. It's kind of my strength, the deadlifts, box jumps. I'm like anybody, I'll get through them. So I'm just gonna do the best I can. This is so amazing to be here. I wouldn't even, guys at my gyms asked me to come and so you can make it, and I go, oh yeah, right. Well, surprise, surprise, you know.
Well,
I appreciate that, thank you very much.
back to you, Justin.
Thank you, Shira. Congratulations, Gary Marshman. That is your winner for event number 3 of the Men's Masters competition, 60 plus. We still have plenty of competition left. There's a 20-minute time cap, and we're only at 17 minutes. So these athletes still have 3 minutes in which to finish the workout. More and more athletes finishing now.
Ron Gallus, our oldest competitor on the field, 65 years old, finishing under the time cap. Tremendous performance out of him. 65 years old, no sign of stopping.
And Jerry Fireman finishes with an unofficial time, 17 minutes, 19 seconds. Some athletes closing out their final portions of the sled pull. Only another yard or two. And Bill Berry will get his sled across the finish line. Bill Berry just has that final sprint down the field. Great test of fitness. We've got things that show that you can move odd objects, you can move weights, you can move your body through space. And this is Bill Berry as he finishes his sprint, 18 minutes and 1 second for Bill Berry, well under the time cap of 20 minutes.
Grit, determination on Wolfenden's face as King touches up at 1817, King Wolfenden. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for your 60 and up mixed masters, all finishing under that time cap.
And it looks like all of the competitors in the Masters division of the men's competition 60 plus have finished event number 3. There are your top 3. Thank goodness for the sled pulls for Gary Marshman. That was the movement he was able to dominate on. It catapulted him to the win here in event number 3. Gary Marshman was your winner with an official time, unofficial time, 12 minutes and 14 seconds. We will be back with more action. The men's 55 to 59 age division coming up in just a few minutes.